You think family is the safest place on earth, or that your best friend will always have your back, no matter what? Think again. Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where stories that start out completely normal spiral into chaos, heartbreak, or such satisfying revenge that you'll want to replay them twice just to soak it all in. Today, we're diving into a collection of true Reddit stories so insane you'll find yourself saying, "There's no way this actually happened," except it did. From betrayals that chill you to the bone, to last-minute wedding twists that stop everything mid-ceremony. These are the kinds of stories that'll make you laugh, rage, and maybe, just maybe, feel thankful you're not the main character. So, are you ready to enter a world where relationships take the sharpest left turns you've ever seen? Story 1. I refused to commit insurance fraud for a friend and got labeled the backstabber of the group. I never thought a harmless BBQ would turn into the biggest fallout in my entire college friend group. But this is Reddit, where common sense gets run over by twisted logic, and friendship apparently means sacrificing your freedom so others can grill in peace. I'm a 26-year-old woman living in a fairly nice apartment building with a big shared rooftop. A few months ago, a former college friend moved in, literally one floor above me. I say former loosely since we stayed in touch and had mutual friends from back in the day. She's the hyper-social type, always planning get-togethers, organizing parties, hosting events. Basically a walking group project. So when she suggested a little rooftop BBQ with our old crew, I had no reason to say no. She started a group chat, invited everyone, and I said I'd join. Now I don't eat red meat, so I wasn't involved in the cooking at all. I brought snacks, paper plates, and a small bottle of wine. I didn't touch the grill. I didn't light charcoal. I didn't even go near the stupid thing. I just stood around chatting, eating chips, sipping wine like a respectable citizen. After the party, we all went downstairs to my friend's apartment to watch reality TV. Everyone was having a good time. And then something seemingly minor happened that would later become the matchstick that burned the house down. Two of our friends, one being grill captain, the other being upstairs girl, decided to take the grill home that night. Upstairs, girl gave her elevator keycard and rooftop pass to grill captain. And for some brilliant galaxy-brained reason, grill captain dumped the still warm charcoal into a plastic trash bin on the windy rooftop. You can probably guess what happened next. The next morning, we all got an emergency email from building management. There had been a small rooftop fire around 2 a.m. because charcoal in the plastic bin got reignited by the wind. Luckily, the fire alarm worked, the fire department showed up fast, and no one was hurt, no major damage either. But you know what's worse than a fire stupidity caught on security camera? The rooftop keycard used was hers. The camera footage clearly shows her friend dumping hot coals into the bin. Management called her in, and she took responsibility because it was her card and her friend. A week later, she came to my apartment looking like I ran over her cat. She sat down, visibly distressed, and said, "You have renter's insurance, right? Would you maybe file a claim for the fire on our behalf? We don't have insurance." I just stared at her. First came the shock, then the rage. I, the one who didn't grill, didn't light anything, didn't even touch the rooftop after the party, was being asked to commit insurance fraud. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I called my old insurance agent, a lawyer friend, and my uncle who used to be an insurance investigator. They all gave the same answer. If you file this claim, you will be committing fraud. Best case A, fine. Worst case, jail time or a criminal record. I texted her back. I can't do it. I spoke to professionals. They said this would be insurance fraud. You'd think that would end things right wrong. Welcome to round 2 of the guilt-tripping circus. The following week, she came back, crocodile tears and all, talking about how she's broke, how she's desperate, how it's just one little claim. I stood firm. I'm not risking my entire future for a mistake I didn't make. A few days later, I noticed I'd been unfollowed, removed from group chats, blocked by multiple people. Turns out she launched a full-on smear campaign. She told everyone I was selfish, heartless, not a real friend. And the craziest part, they believed her. All of them. I started getting texts like, "You could have at least helped a little. If it were me, I would have filed the claim and figured it out later." What are friends for, if not to help when it matters? No. Friends are not for committing felonies on your behalf. Friends are not there to put themselves in legal danger because you were dumb enough to dump hot coals into a plastic bin. And get this. A few weeks later, she sent me one last message. "Everyone said if you apologize, we'll let you back in the group. We still care about you." I took a screenshot, blocked her, deleted her permanently. Because if friendship means risking your future to cover up someone else's stupidity, then I'd rather sit alone eating ramen noodles than sit in jail labeled an accomplice. Real friends don't expect you to go to court for them. And anyone who cuts you off because you refuse to commit a crime, they were never your friend to begin with. Story number 2. My husband wanted to let his brother and his new wife have their honeymoon on our bed. I'm 35 years old, and honestly, I consider myself a pretty chill person. I'm not uptight. I'm not judgmental. I'm not the type to blow things out of proportion. But this one crossed the line. My husband, 36, is a wonderful man. Like 95% of the time. The other 5%. That's when he gets overly soft-hearted and willing to sacrifice our comfort to please other people. So here's the situation. We live in a very scenic, romantic, honeymoon-worthy town. Mountains, lakes, the whole postcard. And wouldn't you know it, my husband's younger brother, 30, and his new wife, 28, decided this would be the perfect place for their honeymoon. Totally fine. I was genuinely happy for them. Their family, and they were trying to save money. We have a guest room with an air mattress, not the Ritz-Carlton, but clean, quiet, and free. Everything was cool until the brother-in-law made this request. "Hey sis, do you think we could sleep in you guys' bedroom instead? The air mattress just doesn't feel very honeymoony." Excuse me, I'm sorry. What now? I literally asked my husband twice just to make sure I heard that correctly. And yup, I heard right. They actually wanted to spend their honeymoon including the activities you do on a honeymoon on our bed. The bed where my husband and I sleep every night. The bed where we share our most intimate personal moments. They wanted that bed for their romantic, sweaty post-wedding experience. I looked at my husband dead in the eyes and said, "Absolutely not." At first he agreed, and then came the wave of guilt tripping from his side of the family. His sister, the designated drama queen of every holiday gathering, said I was being selfish. "It's just a bed," she said. A good sister-in-law would be willing to make small sacrifices to help her new in-laws make memories. Look, I'm not saying I would die if someone slept in my bed. But knowing someone is having sex on the mattress, I cuddle my husband on every night hard pass. This is about boundaries, and that bed, that's mine. But apparently boundaries are optional in my husband's family. They all acted like I was blowing things out of proportion. Like I was this cold-hearted diva guarding her sacred temple of sleep. No. I just don't want someone else's honeymoon fluids on my memory foam. And the worst part? My husband started wavering. He didn't want to upset his family. I get that. But what about me? I stayed calm at first. I explained politely. I tried to be understanding. But they kept pushing and pushing until I wanted to scream, "This isn't an Airbnb. It's not a love motel. It's my house. And that's my bed." Finally, I laid it out for my husband. If you think the bed isn't a big deal, then you sleep on the air mattress. Let your brother and his wife have your spot. I'll check into a hotel. I didn't want to take it that far. But I also wasn't about to let anyone turn my personal safe space into their honeymoon suite. A few days later, the brother texted. They'd booked a hotel for more comfort. And I swear the passive aggressiveness was dripping from every word. Like I ruined their vibe because they didn't get to defile my marital mattress. The extended family's still salty. My mother-in-law called and said I was not being supportive and causing division. I calmly told her I'm always willing to share meals, towels, even my shower. But my bed, that's not a community item. And you know what, I stand by that. What do you think? Would you let another couple, even family, sleep in your marriage bed, do their newlywed business, and just act like it's no big deal? Because for me, if someone else's honeymoon includes my sheets, then someone's getting divorced, and it's not the newlyweds. Story number 3. I reported my boss for harassment and lost my job. Because of it. I never thought that simply speaking the truth could cost me the job I used to love. But then I learned in the corporate world, justice sometimes only exists if you shut up and play along. I'm a 24-year-old woman fresh out of college, eyes sparkling, heart full of delusion. I landed a marketing job at a mid-sized company, big enough to have formal HR policies, but small enough for office drama to spread faster than COVID. At first, I actually liked working there. The co-workers were sweet. My direct supervisor was pretty decent. But then, I started noticing things that weren't okay. Enter the CEO, the big boss. A 50-something-year-old married man who looked like a classy sugar daddy on the outside, but talked like a creep from a bad Netflix docuseries. He had this habit of touching female employees during meetings, a hand on the shoulder, a rub on the back. Or worse, saying stuff like, "Niece dressed today wearing it just for me. If you were our receptionist, we'd never lose a male client again." Everyone laughed it off. Some blushed. But no one said anything. Not a word. I asked a senior coworker about it once, and she told me, "Yeah, he's always been like that. Everyone knows. But don't be stupid and try to report it." I tried to ignore it. Until one day it happened right in front of me, to the new intern. A 21-year-old girl, skinny, shy, clearly in her first ever office job. I was walking past a conference room and saw her standing, looking visibly uncomfortable. The CEO sitting way too close behind her, patting her thigh as he spoke. She looked terrified. Eyes locked on the floor. I walked in pretending I needed a file, cut the scene short. Later that day, I asked if she was okay. She bit her lip and said tearfully, "I don't know if I did something wrong." That was it. I snapped. "No, girl, you didn't do anything wrong." And that feeling, seeing someone so young and scared think that she was the problem, it made me want to flip a table, smash a chair, and set the corporate handbook on fire. So I did what I thought was right. I wrote a formal email outlining the inappropriate behavior I'd seen, including past incidents, and requested HR launch an investigation. I used clear professional language. I included dates, context, and witness accounts. I wasn't trying to stir drama. I was trying to stop it. A few days later, HR called me in. Did they thank me for speaking up? Nope. They said I was disrupting internal harmony, that I had no concrete evidence like video footage or audio recordings. Because obviously every employee walks around with a hidden body cam, right? They told me to think about the company's reputation and to prioritize my career. 3 days later, I got an email. My contract would not be extended after my probation period. This despite my supervisor previously assuring me I'd be made permanent very soon. And the intern, she vanished the following week. I texted to check in, no reply. I knew exactly what was happening, and I wasn't going to let it slide. I compiled every detailed email incident and anonymously submitted it to local news outlets. I also posted a full account on a major corporate work forum, again anonymously, and it blew up. Thousands of shares, hundreds of comments. Former employees came out of the woodwork. One said I endured that creep for 3 years. Another, he invited me to his house for a private strategy session at 8 p.m. 2 weeks later, the company released a PR statement. They were launching an internal review. The CEO would be stepping away for personal reasons. I don't know if he's coming back, but I know this. If you're reading this and wondering if you should speak up, do it. You might get kicked out of the system, but you'll never have to live with the regret of staying silent while someone else suffers. What do you think? Did I deserve to lose my job for reporting harassment? Or is the system so broken it punishes people for telling the truth? Because let me tell you, The silence is always louder than the lies. Story number 4. I caught my boyfriend cheating, and he blamed me for not knocking. I don't know if I'm just too rational, but if you come home early and catch your boyfriend naked with some random girl on the couch, I think you have every right to scream. And no, you don't need to knock on your own damn door. Apparently not everyone agrees, especially not my ex-boyfriend. Yes, ex, because once someone's bare ass is on your couch with someone else and they still find a way to blame you, it's done. I'm a 28F and I was dating Jake 30M for over 2 years. We shared an apartment, split everything down the middle, rent bills, groceries, and yes, even that couch. We had plans to get engaged next year. I even had a Pinterest folder titled Future Wedding Ideas. And then one afternoon, everything unraveled. In 5 seconds. That day, I got off work early, a last-minute meeting cancellation. I thought, oh, I'll surprise him. Cook dinner, open a bottle of wine, kiss him like in the movies. Spoiler alert. There was no kissing, just moaning. I opened the front door quietly, saw the living room light was on, and as I stepped in, I froze. Jake, butt naked. Some girl also butt naked sprawled across our couch. My couch. The same one I slept on when he had the flu because I didn't want to get sick. I screamed, "What the hell are you doing?" The girl freaked out and bolted into the bathroom. Jake. Oh, Jake didn't even panic. He casually grabbed a pillow to cover himself and said, "I kid you not. Could you at least knock before coming in? This is our home, you know." Me knock on my own damn home? I laughed. That bitter, broken laugh people do when the universe hits them with a bad sitcom episode. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just walked to the bedroom, grabbed my suitcase, and started folding my clothes. Jake tried to stop me. He said it was a moment of weakness, that there were no real feelings, and we shouldn't throw away 2 years over one stupid mistake. Sure. If moment of weakness means letting your junk explore new zip codes, then yeah, Jake must be very emotionally fragile. I walked out. No goodbyes. Blocked him everywhere. And honestly, I thought that was the end of it. Jake thought otherwise. 1 week later, I got an email from his mom. A full-length dissertation-style message saying Jake was devastated that I was being too harsh and that men sometimes make mistakes. She actually said, "Don't destroy a beautiful future over one fall." Right. A fall. He tripped onto another woman. On my couch. I replied as politely as I could. "You're right, ma'am. But I believe when someone falls, they should get back up themselves, not drag someone else down with them." I never spoke to anyone from Jake's family again. Didn't delete my Pinterest wedding folder, though. I just renamed it Things That Will Never Happen with Jake. So yeah, that's how it ended. But let me ask you, was Jake just weak, or was he just brain dead? Ever been blamed for being the victim in a betrayal? Because apparently not knocking is a bigger sin than cheating now. Story number 5. My parents forced me to pay for my brother's tuition. Using a wedding fund I never knew existed. I'm not the kind of person who gets angry easily. But there's one thing that drives me absolutely insane: being treated like an afterthought by my own family. I'm a 30-year-old woman. I've been financially independent since I was 22. Worked multiple jobs through college, paid off my student loans on my own, even turned down grad school simply because I couldn't afford it. My parents always told me once you graduate, you're on your own. No handouts. Don't expect help. I thought fair enough. I followed their rules, worked hard, paid off debt, saved every damn cent for a house. Then one day everything cracked, not because I failed, but because my little brother succeeded. My brother is 22, a genius, full scholarship through undergrad, perfect GPA. Now he's been accepted into a top-tier grad school in one of the most expensive cities in the country. The problem? His scholarship doesn't cover living expenses. Cue the family meeting phone call. "Can you help your brother out?" "Just $15,000. We'll try to contribute a little. He'll take out loans for the rest." Wait, $15,000. I took a deep breath and politely said no. I love him, but I'm saving for a house. I simply can't afford that. And then, like some twisted movie plot, my mom drops a bomb on me. Fine. Then we'll use your wedding fund. My what? Now I asked her to repeat it. Turns out my parents had quietly saved $25,000 for my wedding, a fund I never even knew existed. And because I was now over 30 and still single, yep, that's a quote, they decided the money would be better spent on my brother who has a brighter future and more urgent needs. I was speechless, so I asked, why didn't you mention this when I was struggling to pay off student loans? Why not when I passed on grad school because of money? Why didn't you tell me when I was eating ramen for weeks to scrape together a down payment? My mom's answer, that money was for a wedding, not school, not a house. If you're not going to use it, it should go to someone who needs it. I lost it. And before you think I'm being dramatic, let me tell you one more thing. After that call, my brother texted me, Sis, I had no idea about the money. I don't want to take anything from you. I just really want to go to grad school. And I believe him. I really do. He's not the villain in this story. But it still stings that my independence, my sacrifices somehow made me invisible. Like because I didn't follow the life script of graduate married babies, they quietly decided I no longer needed support, that I'd forfeited the right to be considered. So yeah, I went no contact with my parents for a while. I still reply to my brother, but we only talk about school. I refuse to put guilt on him for something he didn't cause. As for me, I took every dollar of my own hard-earned savings and finally placed a deposit on a house. No help, no hidden fund, just me, the girl without a wedding, without reserved money, without special treatment. So, am I the bad guy here? I don't blame my brother. But do I have a right to be angry for being shut out of a decision that literally cost me a future I didn't even know was mine? Family is supposed to be your home. But if your home expects you to sacrifice everything without asking, is it still home? Or just another place you're not really wanted? Story number 6. I was banned from my best friend's wedding because I wouldn't let her give a speech about the baby I lost because of her. There are moments in life when you look back and think I really should have smelled the drama coming from 10 miles away. This is the story of me. 32F, my former best friend, let's call her Lily, 33F, and how I got banned from her wedding. No, I didn't back out. I was literally not allowed to enter. It all started with something I had really tried to forgive. But as they say, forgiving is easy. Forgetting, not so much. Lily and I had been best friends since college. We went through everything together, heartbreaks, job losses, roommate hell, even made a pact to have kids the same year so they could be besties. I trusted her completely, until the day everything shattered. 3 years ago, I was pregnant for the first time. My husband and I were thrilled. Lily was excited too, or so she claimed. She even gave me a baby name book and said she wanted to be the godmother. One afternoon, Lily invited me to a cafe. I had texted her beforehand that I couldn't drink caffeine, eat raw stuff, or anything risky. She said she got it. At the cafe, she handed me an iced matcha latte and said, "Don't worry, I looked it up, this one's safe." I drank it. Partly because I was exhausted, partly because I trusted her. 3 hours later, I was in excruciating pain, like someone punching my insides from the womb outward. I was rushed to the ER. Diagnosis: miscarriage. I tried not to blame anyone. The doctor said it could have been anything. But then 3 days later, still emotionally wrecked, I got a text from Lily. "I'm so sorry. That matcha had EGCG. I just read it might cause uterine contractions in large amounts." That was it. A text. No call, no visit, just a half-assed apology. I truly believe she didn't mean harm, but the way she handled it, like a coward. So I cut her off. No shouting, no accusations, just silence. 3 years later, out of the blue, she texts, "I'm getting married. I want you to be my maid of honor." I stared at my phone. Maid of honor, I politely declined. Told her I didn't feel comfortable because of our past. she went off. But I already said sorry. Why are you holding on to something from years ago? This is the biggest day of my life, don't ruin it. Then her mom called me. Then mutual friends started messaging me saying I was being petty and unforgiving. Finally, Lily texted one last thing. Fine. You don't have to stand next to me, but please just come. I want to give a speech about our 15 years of friendship. I didn't reply, but I went. Out of curiosity, and maybe to find closure. I wore something simple, didn't cause a scene, didn't bring drama. But when I got to the venue, a man stopped me at the entrance. Sorry, your name's not on the guest list. I thought it was a mistake. But no. I looked at the printed list, and my name wasn't there. A few minutes later, one of Lily's bridesmaids came out and awkwardly said Lily just didn't want things to be awkward, so she asked us to tell you not to come in. I turned around. No words, just walked away. But inside, I knew exactly what was happening. Lily never wanted to make amends. She wanted me there for optics, to be part of her curated image of a perfect wedding with touching speeches and lifelong friends. I was just a prop in her Instagram fairy tale. No thanks. So was I being unreasonable? I didn't scream. I didn't out her. I just protected my peace. I refused to play the supporting character in a love story that once cost me everything. Have you ever had to let go of a close friendship because the other person refused to acknowledge the damage they caused? And remember, forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it means walking away in silence and taking back the pen that writes your story. And that's a wrap for today. An emotional roller coaster through real Reddit stories, where drama isn't just a side dish, it's the main course. Ever been through something similar? Or maybe your story's even wilder than anything we've seen here. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And who knows, your story might be featured next. Don't forget, hit like if these stories hit you right in the feels, subscribe so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping episode, and share this video with someone who needs a little wake-up slap from Reddit. Thanks for watching Reddit Echoes, where every twist is real and no one's safe from life's painfully awkward truths. See you next time. Stay sane, or at least pretend to.